Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Movie Minutemen podcast. But before we dive into today's movie, I wanted to let you know that we are always excited to get emails from you. So if you want to send us your thoughts or comments, please do so at the movieminutemenpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to leave us a rating and review, please do so. It's super helpful to get our show out there into the algorithm. And again, thank you guys so much for listening. And now, on with the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Movie Minutemen podcast. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, is Wesley. Wesley, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like we do this like every other episode. We're just busy. That's the reason.
Yes, guys.
We haven't been doing a lot.
Guys, we are busy. We have lives. I'm sorry.
Which is crazy coming from two homeschooled guys, but you know what?
Yeah,
we actually do have lives.
We're growing adults, guys. Well, I'm not an adult technically yet. In January, yes.
You're close.
In January, in a month.
That's crazy.
But anyways.
Yeah. But we do have lives. And so finding time to watch a movie and then sit down and talk about it is a big commitment. But we are here. Wesley reached out, and in proper Andrew fashion, it took me 2 weeks to respond to him. But he's like, "Hey, we need to do, or I would like to do a Christmas one." I was like, "You know what? Let's do it." So here we are. As you can tell by the title, you know what we're talking about. But we're talking about the Santa Claus, and as we always do, let's start with our memories of the movie, and then we'll get into our conversation about the movie. So Wesley, as always, I'm going to let you take it away here first.
Yeah. So, like every Christmas movie, not everyone, I guess, but I don't exactly remember when I first watched this. I think I was really young. I always saw like some movies I just remember seeing like bits and pieces, throughout my childhood. I probably honestly watched this like sometime on like ABC's 25 Days of Christmas, like some of the other Christmas movies I've watched in the past. My family had that circling, had that always on when we used to have cable television when I was younger. Definitely some highlights of the Christmas season, in my childhood was watching that on ABC. But I remember specifically, to point out though, I remember one time watching all three of these movies with my mom on Netflix. One day was when I was like kind of sick during like the Christmas season. I also watched the show on Disney Plus that came out recently in the past few years, 2 seasons. That was a total mess. There was multiple. Did you?
I've never watched it, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think, to be perfectly honest, I don't think I've even watched the second one.
What? Wow.
I've watched bits and pieces of the third one, but never all the way through. So
yeah. I think the second one's good. Good.
Yeah. I've never, I remember seeing the trailer for it, but I've never actually sat down and made a conscious effort to watch it. Yeah. Just because, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't hear many people talk about them, so I'm like, they must not be that great. But anyway.
But yeah, the show is, it's basically like, there's like just a bunch of comedians in the show. Like there's all of these comedian cameos. It's crazy. Anyways, and there's a music number like every other episode. It's weird. Anyways, what? Yeah, it's weird. But we're not talking about the show. Thank God. Thank God, yes.
Yeah. Sheesh.
I don't watch the Santa Claus every Christmas, but I am kind of fond of this film. The back and forth between Charlie and Scott, the rambunctious attitudes of the elves, and the slow transformation of Scott is kind of just funny. I do laugh out loud at some of the jokes. Yeah, there was at least, I think it was three times when I watched this. Right now, today when I watched it, I did laugh out loud. It is a Christmas classic. I think it is. But it has its imperfections and downfalls as well. So it's definitely not the best Christmas movie ever, but it is one to note. So,
yeah, absolutely. Unlike you, my family, growing up, we'd watch this every year. It's one of my parents' favorites, and so obviously, that means we watch it every year. And man, I have a lot of fond memories of this movie. It is a great man. I don't have words to explain how much I enjoy this movie. And yes, like you said, sitting down and watching it with a critical eye causes you to realize that there are some things that are not great about it. But it is a fun movie. Like you said, the actors have a really good back and forth. The story itself, which we'll get into in a minute, is unique. The movie does a good job of contrasting characters that Tim Allen plays, right, with the Scott Calvin, and then when he becomes Santa Claus, is very hard to do and pull off. But it's like, got a guy who can play a jerk, and he is a jerk in the movie right at the beginning, and then a guy who can play Santa Claus when he becomes Santa Claus. And I think it's a really good movie. And obviously there are some flaws that we'll talk about, but all in all, it's a good movie. It's a very fun movie, and I enjoy watching it every year, as I have for 24 years and probably will for a while longer. But yeah, Wesley, do you have any behind the scenes facts?
Yes, I do. So yeah, so I usually pull for movies like this, Marvel movies. I kind of go more in depth, and usually those movies are like more in depth and all that. But for these movies, like for the Christmas movies and for the fan choice episodes, I usually pull from Wikipedia and a few other sources, like one or two other sources. But Wikipedia was very, very minimal this time on the Santa Claus page for some reason. Don't know why, for the behind the scenes stuff. So that was kind of interesting. If you just like look up the Wikipedia page, it's kind of very minimal. Anyways, for the movie, if anyone's interested to do that while you listen to the episode. Anyways, but the script was written on spec by Steve Rudnick and Leo Benvunti. In November 1992, it was announced Hollywood Pictures had acquired the script as a potential starring vehicle for Tim Allen. The film was shot at Raleigh Studios in Hollywood, California, and on location in the greater Toronto area, with Oakville serving as the city of Lakeside, Illinois. All Christmas movies are in Illinois,
It's true.
The reindeer used in the film were all from the Toronto Zoo. The trains used in the North Pole scene and the start of the film were all made by LGB. Bill Murray and Chevy Chase were offered the role of Scott Calvin, but both turned it down. There were also a few other people too. I think there were 6 in total, from what I found. There might be more, The Santa Claus premiered at Hollywood on November 5th, 1994, and was theatrically released in the United States on November 11th. It has a 73% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it went on to make $190 million worldwide, with $144 million coming from North America.
Cannot see Clark Griswold playing Santa Claus. Just doesn't fit my.
Yeah, there was a few interesting ones I saw. I was like, wait.
Yeah. And then eventually they were just like, you know what, Tim, you're doing Home Improvement with Touchstone. Just come over and play Santa Claus for us.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what ended up happening. But hey, it worked out. They have, this movie, it all worked out for them. But yeah. So like you said, this movie was released on November 11th in 1994, directed by John Pasquin and written by, as you said, Leo Benvenuti. Benvenuti? I don't know. And Steve Rudnick. Music by Michael Convertino, who I had never heard before. And you can't find the soundtrack on Spotify.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I actually know that. Spotify. Because I tried to look it up last year. And
yeah.
Every
year I'm like, why don't I have this soundtrack on my Christmas soundtrack?
Yeah.
Because it's not on Spotify.
That's interesting. I wonder if there's a reason. I wonder if
there must be some kind of like copyright or something.
Yeah, copyright or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but it is starring Tim Allen as Scott Calvin / Santa Claus, Eric Lloyd as Charlie, Judge Reinhold as Neil, Wendy Crewson as Laura, and David Krumholtz as Bernard. Also starring Peter Boyle, Judah Scott, Larry Brandenburg, and Joyce Guy. So that is your cast. It's a very small cast, but what are your thoughts on the cast, Wesley?
So I do like how it is a small cast, because you are able to fixate on all these characters, and by the end of the movie, like that last scene, well, near the end, where like they're all together, like, and it all kind of circles back to the beginning from the end. The end.
Yeah.
The whole family.
Yep.
Including Neil.
And Neil.
Just joking. just joking. But I forget how David Krumholtz and Paige I don't know her last name, but I don't like Bernard and Judy. Like, I wish they had more time. Oh my gosh, I forgot how little time they have in this movie.
Yeah.
There's more Bernard in the second movie, so yeah. But there are some funny characters in this movie, though. Like the Judy at Denny's. That was.
If I can jump in, I have her as a possible underrated character for the underrated character club.
Honestly,
because she's only in the one scene.
That is true.
And she kind of steals that scene, in my opinion.
She does.
But that, as I was writing down my notes, I was like, know.
I guess so. I think we could do that. Once we talk about the story and we get into that, like that scene, I have a few thoughts about that scene, because I have some history with Denny's. So.
Some Denny's dish.
Yeah, Denny's. Yeah. So, but anyways, back to the cast. I thought there wasn't like, a lot to say about a lot of the characters. I mean, a lot of the actors. I think everybody did all right.
Yeah.
Did all right.
All right.
Tim Allen.
Yeah.
I'll do my first behind the scenes fact.
Oh.
Where is it? The Santa Claus, this was the first lead role for Tim Allen. It seems as if Allen has been in the industry for a long time, but the Santa Claus was his debut role in a feature film. At the time, Allen was an American handyman on Home Improvement, like we've said before. He had also tried his hand on the comedy circuit before taking up acting, according to biography. It's no doubt that this film launched Allen's career on this big screen, and today Allen looks similar to his time in his films, and went on to land the role of Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story films, of course, as we all know. So, and we all love him as Buzz. So
we do, and he's now in a new sitcom with Kat Dennings.
Yeah.
That's coming out in January, which I'm kind of excited for, because I like Tim Allen. But as an actor, put it there. But yeah, that's interesting. And it does feel like he's been around forever, but it's been, I guess this is the 30th anniversary of the Santa Claus.
Wow. Wait, yeah, 1994. Oh, yeah.
1994,
Oh,
yeah. Hey, look at that.
So,
We're celebrating.
Let's go.
We're celebrating an anniversary without
Let's go.
knowing we're celebrating an anniversary.
Wait, why didn't we do Polar Express? Wait, that was 20
Also,
years too.
20 years, yeah.
Anyways, we talked about that though. We talked about that. So of course, yeah. We both we both have traditions with our families. So
yeah, we have
if
traditions
anybody
with our
didn't know,
families.
so
we have traditions with our family.
Yeah, that just came to my mind, like just randomly. Anyways, sorry. because I'm associated in 2004. It's 20 years since that movie.
You're a 2004 baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways. I think the cast does a very good job, and I think we'll get into the story in a minute. But I think the small cast helps make the story more impactful because you're, like you said, you're spending time with these four characters. Basically just them. I mean, yes, you have his boss in a couple scenes who's really funny. The Bernard, like you said, Judy, the elves, all of them. But it's really just Scott and Charlie and Neil and Laura, and that's the heart behind it, and that's the point behind it. And so I think it helps the story be more impactful. And does it drag in some places? Yes, which we'll get into. But it is a good story that is just about these four characters and their interactions and their heart for each other and their, the life that they have. And obviously it's about those three people, Neil and Charlie and Laura, helping Scott become the person that he does eventually become at the end of the movie, which is, Santa Claus, but still like, a more soft, a more caring dude than he was at the beginning. But yeah, let's get into the story behind it, or the story of the movie. A question I want to ask, but I guess I'll save the question for later. Wesley, what did you think of the story?
The story, it was actually kind of quite deep for a surface level like Christmas movie. Like with the whole family situation. Of course, Scott and Laura are not together.
Yeah.
And they share custody with Charlie, that's his name. So on its surface there, like when you get into the story, like right away, you see that and you're like, whoa, this is a Christmas movie. It's not light and cheery, but you get that from Scott, of course. But as a whole though, Scott turning into Santa in just the ways, like how he does, like he like believes in Santa, but then he also questions it for a little bit because of Charlie, because he doesn't want to be Santa. And then he's like, okay, wait, I'm doing this for Charlie. So like, I, kind of have to, like, I have to accept this role. So, anyways, so that fatherly, even like in the beginning of the movie where like Santa comes like to their house and like Charlie wakes up and then like Scott like tells him to stay like in the house, like you could just see those fatherly instincts like nonchalantly come out of him, and we see him like like very, like you said, he was kind of a jerk in the beginning of the movie, and he is. He's kind of like narcissistic a little bit, but like, like he's just a doesn't care about anything. So like, it's from the beginning to the end, it's a total character. It's very character driven, like we've talked about already, and to see Scott's evolution throughout it's very interesting to just focus on him alone, because you can see a lot, and like you can relate to some of these aspects, like if you're a father, of course, as well. Of course we aren't yet.
No, not
yet. But still, men alone anyway. But so him alone, the story of him alone as the Santa Claus was very interesting. I was primarily, fixating on his point of view throughout it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's his story.
Yes.
But you also get little
Yes.
bits and pieces
Yes.
of, well, I guess more Neil and Laura than Charlie, of their like growth, because, you know, we get from about halfway through the movie or whatever, you find out that Neil and Laura stopped believing in Santa Claus
Yeah.
at a very young age, and because they didn't get what they wanted and whatnot, and so they stopped believing. And so now they're kind of pushing that on Charlie, being like, hey, you know, Santa's not real. Like, you know, like, you got to grow up. You can't believe in, you know, this anymore. It's not, you know, it's more like a state of mind, you know, not a person.
Yeah.
And so, but then at the end, you know, they believe, and you find out that, or when they find out that Scott really is Santa, and they believe, and that kind of just, you can almost see it on their faces, kind of just change their whole character in that. And that's kind of like the point, right? You know,
Yes.
you just have to believe in. I take it as like believe in something, whether that's Santa Claus or you know your faith or whatever you believe in. For me, it'd be, you know, my faith, but you know, it changes your whole outlook on life, and so it's really, like you said, it's deep. It's a deep story, and anyway,
and to add on to that, I feel like there's been some, like in the early 2000s here, like I feel like some of these Christmas movies, classic Christmas movies, actually kind of have a deep story. But like, I feel like some of these Christmas movies coming out, like, you know, in the early 2000s, you know, there's been a bunch of cheesy, you know, Christmas movies, rom-coms, and I don't know, you know, the whole genre.
Hallmark.
Hallmark. But I feel like some of it is returning to its form. I just saw a Christmas movie called The Holdovers last year, and it is rated R. So if you're into those movies, you know, I don't know. It's not that bad. There is language, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I'm not going to go into that. But it's like kind of deep because it's about this like old professor, and like and there's a student that he's like taking care of these students on like during Christmas break, and like him, this student, and like a chef all like create them like basically form a bond and like their own little family, like, you know, during this Christmas break. And it's like and like all of them have complex backstories, and it's like, I don't know, you know, and it kind of reminded me of that watching Santa Claus here another
Interesting.
time. So but yeah, so like I like Christmas movies like that because it's just like focuses back on reality instead of the spectacle of Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it kind of grounds it a little bit more, and
Yes.
it's not like, oh, even though this movie is definitely whimsical, and, you know, like, I mean, a human becomes Santa Claus, you know, it's totally off the wall that way. But I actually had the question here written down that I wanted to ask you. How do you think this holds up, or wait, what's the actual question? How does this stand up to other Christmas movies? Like we already kind of talked about, but I definitely want to talk about the theory about Santa, because you get a bunch of Christmas movies, you know, across the spectrum, and they all have their different take on Santa Claus, whether it's, you know, Santa Claus is coming to town, or you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or whatever. But how did you think this held up to those other, you know, maybe origin stories about Santa or something like that, or just movies in general, how they take Santa Claus? So go ahead.
You know, I feel like it has the elements there. It does have the elements. We don't actually spend a lot of time in the North Pole, and we don't spend a lot of time as you know, him being Santa. Of course, that's in the second movie and the third movie, of course.
Never seen it.
It's like, you know, in this one, it's his origin and of the character. But you know, I feel like the elements are there, and I think it's very believable about some of the body changes that he's going through. Of course, it's not all right away, and I like that, how it's like not all right away, because some movies do that. I just saw a dumb movie, a Netflix Christmas movie called Hot Frosty, where this guy, it was a snowman, turns into a human, and it's so bad. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I saw a meme about it.
Okay.
And so I was like, is this an actual movie? And
It is.
I read the plot and I'm like, that is not worth my energy to watch.
No,
So
no. The guy looks like Mr. Tummus from Narnia
McAvoy?
too. Yeah.
Professor
I don't know.
X? What?
Yeah, he reminded me of him. But anyways, back to Santa Claus.
Hot Frosty, what a name.
Hot Frosty. Yes. Oh man, now that's gonna be on my mind. But I think it has the elements of Santa, and it kind of holds to that. I feel like other Santa Clauses probably do it better. Especially like animated versions. Like, man, yeah, Santa Claus is coming to town, and like, Year Without a Santa Claus, and like Rudolph. I don't know. It has the elements though. It does have the elements of Santa Claus. So,
for sure, I would say, and maybe we should do this sometime, but we should rank our top Christmas, top Santa Clauses of like in like Christmas movies or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's this movie that my family and I love and watch. I think it came out in 1994 as well. It's called All I Want for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's very good.
Think so.
It's about these two kids who their parents are separated and it's their first Christmas without them together. And so they try and get they get them back together like through a bunch of like little schemes and whatnot. And it's really cute. Kind of like Parent Trap, I guess, but Christmas. But the Santa Claus in that is probably one of my favorite Santa Clauses ever. Like in the film, it's Leslie Nielsen. He plays Santa Claus. He's only in like 2 scenes of it, but it's very good. But I like the idea about Santa Claus, getting because like there's always that question like he's been doing this for forever. How is he still alive? And like playing on this idea that he just decides to fall off someone's roof and he gets whoever puts on the suits the next Santa. I just think that's really funny. I will say, I did think that the movie dragged between and it's a lot of the movie actually, but between the first time at the North Pole until the Thanksgiving, there's a lot of kind of the same stuff where it's like, you got to talk to Charlie about this. This didn't really happen. And it's like, actually, because you go to the soccer game, you do the zoo, you do a couple other things. The judge, which I mean, that's important. So I'm not saying to take it out like we sometimes do, but like it does kind of drag. And I wish there was a little more variety in there, but that was just me. That's one thing I just wanted to say about the story.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you feel that as well, but
I do. Specifically, see, we have talked a little bit about the characters, but I just find like, I have a note here. I had a note about Charlie. Like, I just find him to be kind of annoying here.
I agree.
Like
I literally have written down Charlie is uber annoying, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Like, I just don't get, like, I know, like, he's at that age, but it just comes across very weird. And of course, he's a child. The actor Ethan, is it Eric Lloyd?
Eric Lloyd,
is a child. He's a child actor, so he probably didn't have a lot of he probably had to audition a lot of times and all that for it and stuff like that. And he probably had a coach and all that. But I don't think he had the greatest acting in the world. So he's just like, he was like obsessed with everything I was like, I don't know. It just came across very weirdly, I guess. I don't know.
No, I very much agree. It says here in the rundown that he's supposed to be 8 years old. So
8 years old. Okay.
Yeah. But he is very, very annoying. Like, it's just, anyway, we don't need to rip him. I mean, he does a good job, but he's literally just there as a plot device. It feels like at times, and they're just like, he's got to say something here. So he just whines, It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got to say about Charlie. Like, he does a good job, but is annoying. All right, the music. What did you think of the music?
See, I have a note here. So, of course, most of the beginning of the movie, there's a lot of like soundtrack more than score.
Yeah.
Um, but I had a note. I don't know what it was, but there was like when you did hear the score, it was something about how when you did hear the score, like it was very evident, and you kind of had those circulating themes for like Scott's like show up at certain places in the film, and you could hear it in like not visualize it. You can't, of course, see it, but like
Some people can see music. Fun fact. But.
honestly, yes, Ratatouille. Okay, that's been on my mind for a few months. Anyways, that's a weird thought. Anyways, okay, my mind is out of it now.
Sorry.
No. That was
you
that was
were
only,
talking
was,
about the themes.
yes, the themes,
being evident.
the themes. Yes, and of course we don't know the scores at all because like there's it's not on like we said earlier that the scores, if you guys remember, like we don't even, the score is not on Spotify or like Apple Music. I don't think, like, not even on Apple Music either. So it's kind of interesting how who was the composer, who was he? It was
Michael
Convertito. So I've never heard of him.
No, I mean, I looked him up on Spotify and he's got like 3 or 4 things there.
Yeah. But I think it was like, it had that kind of classic 90s feel to a Christmas movie though, and the soundtrack songs, like was it a White Christmas near the beginning? I think that was during yeah.
Yeah, that one is.
Then when they're driving in like Denny's and all that, that was nice. That was a nice touch.
It's on YouTube, so
that's good.
You can listen to the soundtrack there.
That's good.
But besides that, anyway, sorry, I was looking it up.
Of course, nothing compares though to John Williams, or some other ones. So, but
Polar Express, yeah, there are certain times, because I have written down here, it's not exceptional, it's not this great big thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't drive the movie, kind of like I would say for Home Alone, that movie was kind of driven by the soundtrack at times. This one, there's not really need for that, which is okay. Like, not all movies need to do that, but I don't think the music distracts from it, but I also don't think it makes it any better. Like you were saying, what is that one? The Carol of the Bells at the very beginning as he's driving home.
Yeah.
That one sticks out. And then Drifters, like you said, White Christmas. That one's always a classic. But besides that, and there is that part where Santa Claus is at Charlie's house right before he gets arrested. And there's that little twink, like it's like bells that goes, and the music kind of goes bum 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 or something like that. Like it's light brass, or not even brass. What would that be? Dun, dun, dun. I don't know, but it's like bells, and that always reminds, like, that part right there is what I remember. The rest of it, could be complete and utter trash, but I do remember that part. And there's the one song that they sing. I think it's the only original song that someone sings. I don't even know if it's original or not, but when they get to the North Pole and the little elf comes out and is like typing in the code on the North Pole, like the literal pole. Every time my mom is always like, shush, 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 because she loves the song and she wants to hear it. Every year, well, that when I was home, she'd always do that. And so every time I hear that, it reminds me of my mother. But besides that, I guess that is a lot, actually. But the music was, I say besides that, after ripping off 10 things I liked about the music. But, yeah. The music, it was good. It wasn't terrible, but it's not like great or anything like that. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, Wesley, besides music, characters, story? I don't have anything else written down.
Okay. Oh, can we talk about like some scenes? Can we just?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
So one thing so I love when movies do this. I love when the movies do this. And there's two instances here in this movie that some of the cuts were great. There was two cuts in particular. The first one at the beginning of the movie when they're at Denny's in the car, and the quote
it's an American institution.
And cuts the guy speaking Japanese. Yep. That was hilarious. That's a good one.
That quote, like, okay, so for those of you guys who know me and my family who are listening, you know that we love to quote movies. And for those of you who don't, now you do. My family and I, we pretty much speak in movie quotes. Like 70% of the things we say to each other has been from a movie one time or another. But whenever, we're like trying to figure out somewhere that we want to eat or something, without a doubt, someone will be like, "What do you mean you don't want to eat at blank? It's an American institution." Like without even thinking, someone will say that. Like it could be, I don't know, the Hong Kong buffet or something like that, and we'll be like, "It's an American institution." Like we're like, good. I don't know, like Pizza Hut or whatever. Like we don't. Yeah, we're gluten free, so we don't eat at Pizza Hut. But anyway. There's a lot of quotes in this movie that my family utilizes.
But we'll just talk about the second one, and then we'll talk about that Denny scenes because I have like I told you, I had some stuff with the Denny scene. Yeah. But the second one is when the cut when the take your like parent to work school day or whatever. The fireman explaining third degree burns.
we cook them too. But yes,
kid's face. That was perfection. That was great.
There's nothing worse than 3-degree burns.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the teacher in that scene, the teacher says like, "You can't say elves. We have to call them little people." Like, what do you mean by that, bro? Like,
I mean, the same reason Disney took out dwarves. Dwarves.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Little people? That's even more. Like, that's come on.
Yeah. Also,
more racist. Come on.
Elves are little people. Lord of the Rings? Anybody?
Yeah.
Buddy the Elf?
Yeah. Buddy's tall, bro.
Yeah, come on.
But back to the Denny scene.
That teacher is
crazy.
Anyway.
Crazy. But the Denny scene. So I have myself, don't know if you've ever been to Denny's, but I've gotten food poisoning twice from Denny's. So yeah, even the first time I literally, no, I'm not going to go into that. No.
Did you vomit?
No. Yeah. But that was like when I was there and like,
that was quick food poisoning.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't like anything like that day or anything like that. It was like, it was there. I don't know. Like it was,
Jeez.
it was bad. It was bad. So, yeah, I haven't been there since,
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to.
I haven't been there in at least 7 or 8 years. At least since like 2015, I think. So, man, probably 9.
If
9
you
or
had
10
a
years.
nickel for every time you got food poisoning from Denny's, you'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot,
true.
But it's weird that it happens.
That's true. Yeah.
No,
but if I ever see Judy, though, Judy, it'll be a great time. So
yeah. At least they have apple pie, right?
Yeah.
But my family and I one time, and my mom got a hair in her salad.
Oof.
Or something like that. Maybe it was a burger. I don't remember. But she got a hair in her food, and we've never been back. And I don't know if I care to. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of. I feel like I think it's going to be one of those restaurants that dies out. Like in the next few years,
like a Red Lobster or something.
Yeah.
Which Red Lobster. I've heard like 15 times they're like, yeah, we're going under, we're shutting everything down.
Yeah.
It's the one like 20 minutes from my house is like still up and running. It's like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Are they feel like privately owned and operated now or something?
Yeah. kind of like Pizza Hut, like, oh, we're taking away buffet, but we're still doing it.
There's some that still do. Yeah, it's like buffet's not an option. Like your chain, your restaurant can either have.
You can come in and sit down. You can come in and sit down and eat pizza. Like what?
The pizza. Okay, so the Pizza Hut in my my town where I work, it's not a. You can't sit at the place and eat. It's only like it's like a Pizza Hut Express or something like that.
Oh, that's weird.
You have to like take it and pick it up, which, you know, I don't care. I'm not eating at Pizza Hut often because, like I said, I can't really. Not at this one, but anyway. But it's weird. Anyway,
that's wait. One more thought on Pizza Hut.
Okay.
I have a lot of not thoughts. What am I saying? I have a lot of thoughts about the Pizza Hut. What am I saying? No. well, I have a lot of nostalgia at the Pizza Hut we have two, in Galesburg. Yeah. But the one not downtown, but the other one, like I, as a kid, like you can get like book coupons from like from library and stuff like that. And I went there like every year and stuff like that, the reading program and all that. And I have a lot of nostalgia going to that buffet. Like that was the first time I watched Puss in Boots, and I was just watching that on the TV, in there and stuff.
That goes crazy.
It was Sunday afternoon lunches too there. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Wait, was that the one? Is that the one like, I think I know
the first one. The first one. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to totally give it away, but it's like, right near,
but the gas station, gas station.
Yeah, the church,
not the one, not the one by not Walgreens, not the one by Walgreens,
not the one by Walgreens. Okay,
no.
Okay, we're speaking in code for those of you guys who don't know. Yes.
So
that's the one I was thinking. So it's another.
It's closed down. If you guys like show up there, like it's closed down anyway. If we said the street or anything.
Wait,
like that.
really?
So,
the one by Walgreens is shut down?
Yeah. No, not that one. But the other
one that you're okay.
The one that I'm
nostalgic
talking about.
One. So
okay. Yeah. That's why I was bringing it up.
Dang.
But yeah, that's our thoughts on Denny's and Pizza Hut and Red Lobster.
I've got one more soapbox.
One more.
It's not specifically about any specific restaurant, but it's about, and if Clara listens to this, she's heard me rant about this like every other time we drive by a Taco Bell. I'm just like,
Taco Bell.
Okay, so Taco Bell is doing their like nostalgia trip push, right?
Oh yeah,
like the flashback boxes or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And every now and then the commercials will come on, and it's like, oh, am I back in like the 90s or something? And they go back and I'm like, your stores look so much better in the 90s. And like the same thing goes for like McDonald's and Pizza Hut too. And like all the stores and the restaurants that are going minimalistic with their logos and their interior design, it makes me feel like I'm eating in a spaceship, and I don't like it. Like I want, when I go into a Pizza Hut, I want the nice booths with the nice drop down lights with the nice glass designs, and I want beautiful designs. I don't want to sit down in a gray square on a gray square and eat off a gray square.
You hear this, corporate heads? Come on, listen to Andrew.
Listen to Andrew. Let me help you design. Literally, just go back to your logos from like 10 years ago and everything.
Yes, literally.
Like the Taco Bell logo was so much better back then. The McDonald's logo was so much better back then. The Burger King logo. Literally every
Whopper.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I was in a car with one of my youth group students. He's like 13. And him and I were reminiscing about that. We were like, man, we hate minimalistic designs. Like it was like, dude,
wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets it.
Shout out Caleb. You know who you are. But anyway. Man.
Funny.
Okay. Back to the Santa Claus.
Back to Movie Minutemen podcast.
Okay, yeah. We're talking about some of our favorite scenes, right?
Yes. Yeah. We were talking about Denny's, and we've talked about Denny's.
We went down the Denny's rabbit hole.
Yes. I have something to note. The business meeting. So
yes,
during the business, of course, that scene's hilarious. But like, I got some oddly reminiscence of like Elf here, like, and how like, I don't know. You want to know something about Elf here? That another tie-in. Sorry to cut in. What? Yeah.
The waiter is the one elf that Buddy faints on.
Interesting.
Elf. That's the waiter who takes their orders.
Interesting.
Same actor.
Interesting.
I don't know what you want to take.
But then like the doctor's visit too, Buddy had a doctor's visit, you know. You know,
It's a good point.
And Elf is after Santa Claus. Elf is after
is.
Santa Claus.
It's not the same doctor though. John Favreau.
No, it isn't. No, John Favreau is the better doctor. So.
Oh, you think?
So yeah,
I think that's a hot take. Whew. No, it's not a hot take. I don't know if Where's the doctor? Oh, the doctor's not credited on here.
He's not credited,
or not on the. I mean, I'm sure he is. Oh,
Dr. Pete Novos, Steve Vinovich, Dr. Pete Novos.
Yeah, Steve Vinovich.
Yeah.
Let's see what else he's been in. It's talking about a rabbit hole. He's still acting. Shout out.
He's still acting. Wow, isn't he like? He must be kind of older. He must be kind of older.
In 1945. So.
Wow.
Almost 80. No.
He's from Peoria.
Whoa.
Hey.
Hey.
Yo.
Do you want
to look at those rabbit holes?
Do you want to take back what you said about him being the worst doctor?
Wow. That's crazy. The rabbit holes for the win.
Shout out. See, this is what happens when we do our...
He was in Home Improvement too. What? He was in Home Improvement? What?
Before or after this one?
I don't know. I don't know. 1999, I think it said. 1999.
He plays a doctor in Home Improvement too.
That's good. That's
Wait,
good. Malcolm in the Middle. He was in Malcolm in the Middle. He was the principal. He was principal.
Was he a doctor in Malcolm in the Middle too?
Nope. Principal.
No, principal. Okay. Well, speaking of principals, we'll talk about. He was in. Let's see, season 8, episode 23. In case you want to go watch.
Yes.
The Home Improvement episode with him in it. But.
Yep. Wow. Rabbit hole for the win.
Shout out.
Shout out Steve.
Steve Vinovich from Peoria, Illinois. His home address is.
Honestly, you could probably find it. No, whoa. I don't know. What am I smart? Wow, that's bad.
I'll mark this clip and cut it up. 50, 47.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. One of my. Okay. Well.
Okay.
Here's my favorite scene. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you guys right now. We normally wait until the end, but we're talking about scenes.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what mine is.
Probably my favorite scene is at the end. We kind of talked about it already, but when Laura and Neil finally realize that Scott is actually Santa, and you can see that on their faces, and yeah, some of my favorite lines are there from Neil when he goes, Laura, he's sucking us into his delusions, when Bernard appears and he's eating his pita and all that. And then when he's like, looks at Neil's sweater and he's like, Bernard goes, oh, did we make this? And he's like, trying to see if it's from the North Pole and everything. I just think there's some great gags there and a lot of heart in that scene as well. So it's like, it does. And that's something this movie did really well, is like they balanced the heart with the comedy with semi-drama, like you have a lot of good beats there where it's like emotional, but also, plenty of humor. And I think about the scene where Charlie and Scott get done at the zoo and they're walking back and they're just having this heart-to-heart talk, and you look back and all the reindeer are following after Scott because, he's Santa Claus. So I just think there's a lot of good laughter and heart and all that in this movie as well. Yeah. But that'd be my favorite scene. And I guess we can kind of get into favorites if we want to.
We can.
Yeah, do you have a favorite?
I didn't. I did. I have at least one. See, there wasn't really one that really pointed out to me. Of course, that one's a great. At the end is a great one.
Oh yeah.
You know what I actually kind of liked was a kind of the bit. Of course, it's split into two parts, but the bit with the girl with the milk, that was. I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot.
Oh yes, Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah. I kind of like that bit a lot. It kind of like shows the beginning of when he became Santa Claus and like where it was like
you're supposed to drink the milk,
and then like, you know, he did the second year, and then like, you know, it was soy milk, and he didn't like it. So,
But I mean, he did say that he
yeah.
was lactose
But
intolerant.
Sarah, yeah, true. And you know, kind of a good gag. So I don't know why I said that, but yeah, I like Sarah, so that's why I said it. So, whoa. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's your favorite scene?
Yes, I guess yes. That is my favorite scene. I'll say it. Yes, it is my favorite scene.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Least favorite scene, I guess. Oh,
Least
no.
favorite scene.
Yeah. Least favorite scene.
I'll go for the sequence right after they wake up, Scott and Charlie.
Really?
And not like after they wake up, but like, you know, when Charlie is kind of not delusional, but like, you know, just like
Yeah. Everyone thinks he's delusional.
Yeah, everyone thinks he's a delusional, and like making the his chairs into like a sleigh, and I don't even know, like it's just kind of it goes on a little bit too long, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, that's fair.
I don't know. So that would be probably my least favorite moment of the movie. So
That's fair. For me, I would say even though there is one of my more favorite lines, but the scene with the scene with the principal when she's talking to Scott and Neil and Laura, just because I don't know, it just feels like, is this something that the principal should actually be getting involved with? Like, it's just a kid believing in Santa, right? Like, it's a kid.
That is true.
You know,
yeah.
something that every kid I feel like believes in. So it's like, and he's 8. He's not like 16. It's not
yeah,
like
he's not. Yeah,
believing this.
Yeah.
It's like, does this really need to?
Yeah,
Does the principal really need to get involved? Feels like kind of an overstep. And although like I said, I really do like the line where he goes, "He's not a doctor, he's a psychiatrist."
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
But that was my least favorite scene. How about least favorite character? I'm just going to
least favorite character.
Piggyback off it. My least favorite character is the principal. Just let Charlie believe in Santa. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I already said my piece.
Honestly, that's a good vibe right there. Yeah. That's a good choice.
The actor did a great job. It's not her. It's just the character.
Yeah. The character itself.
I don't want to throw shit.
The writing. Yeah. I would say Charlie. What? Yeah, sorry guys. I'm gonna be that controversial character of this episode.
Everyone spam the Spotify comments and say, justice
not Charlie.
For Charlie. Justice for Charlie.
Yeah, justice for Charlie.
Speaking of justice for Leonard, maybe
Leonard.
Soon. We can already talk
February 14th. February 14th.
I'm so hyped, dude.
Yeah,
I've heard mixed reviews, but you know what?
Yeah,
like from
a lot of. You know what? We're getting some Hulk actors.
I'm excited.
We're getting some. We're getting some. Dude, we're getting a Betty Ross back, bro. We're getting Betty, dude.
Hopefully Leonard, dude.
Wait,
if Leonard, let me check IMDb real quick.
It's gonna be my number one movie of the year. If Leonard is in this movie, Leonard is in this movie, like. It's probably gonna be like uncredited or something like that. But
Ty Burrell's not credited for
if he is
Brave New World, but I'm gonna go to Brave New Worlds.
But yeah, side tangent. But
the new poster looks hype though.
Yes, it does. It is like I like the white. The white is pretty good.
Yeah,
and
also,
I love
Chris Evans coming back for Doomsday. Did you hear that?
Yep. And Haley Atwell too. Haley Atwell.
Sorry guys, a little Marvel tangent because that's what this podcast.
We always have to do that.
I saw this theory and I really like it that it's gonna like take place because like they know how to time travel, right?
Yes.
It's gonna take place in 1945 or whenever Steve went back in time to be with Betty, and maybe he like stayed back for her, right? But also because of that threat, of like Doctor Doom or something, and then because of that, it's going to open up like another world, like a completely different world, not just a different timeline, but a different world where Fantastic Four First Steps is going to take place, which is just
That is mind blowing. That is mind blowing.
But I think that could be really neat. Anyway,
it would be. It would be.
It's the Russos, so I have faith.
Yes,
but
yes.
Like we said, if you want to listen to more of our talks, go back to the previous episode.
Yeah, the previous episode. I would honestly recommend listening to that episode because we went in very in depth about everything about the current state of Marvel.
It was literally just a bunch of side tangents, which is not bad.
Yes.
Yeah, he is not in the
listed. Yeah,
he's not in the credits.
No.
Justice for Leonard.
Dude, I will get up and shout that if I see him, I will put my fists in the air and get out of my seat.
Both, man. You and me both. States.
And then I will say, watch the Movie Minimum podcast. I mean, listen to the Movie Minimum podcast. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be like, "What the freak? Like, what is this?
What's this podcast?" And all of a sudden, 2 new listeners.
Probably only one in Galesburg. If I see it in Galesburg.
That's You got to go to like Peoria or something. For
that. Yeah. Anyways,
least favorite character.
Least favorite character. Well, yeah. I said Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
We already discussed that. Quote. Yeah, quote.
Oh yeah, quote.
No. Character. Favorite character.
Oh yeah, favorite character. Go ahead.
Bernard. Bernard is a chill guy. I wish he was in a lot more, but gave Charlie a snow globe, called him sport like his dad.
Upstanding dude. Upstanding.
Doesn't take no for an answer. Eating Neil's wrap. Bro. So good. So good. I love Neil. I'm not Neil. Well, I do like Neil's kind of funny too. But Bernard's great. I love Bernard. So.
And on that note, my favorite character is Neil.
Let's go.
So, a couple. Well, mine may not be so popular, but I just think he's a very good, punching bag for the whole movie. He's just there to get kind of crapped on, but I think a lot of his lines are funny and moments are good. And he's kind of like, I don't know, the person pushing for Charlie, to not believe in Santa and to get the restraining order and everything. But he just, he just cares about the kid, right? Like in his own little way. And so and he's really funny. So Neil's my favorite character. And let's do a favorite quote and then we'll wrap this puppy up.
Yes. There's a few quotable lines. But the one that I wrote down and I'm sticking to it. I was writing some of the quotes down. But I am going to go with when Scott and Charlie are on the roof on the sleigh for the first time. And I forgot what they're talking about. But he says we're getting the Disney Channel now. Merry Christmas. So
it's a gift from the cable company.
Cable company. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So So it was that. Yeah, that's great. So that's my favorite one.
I mean, man, there were so many. Like
American institution.
It's an American institution. The nice teeth when he looks at the dog, he's just like, nice teeth, and the dog starts barking. I don't know, man. Like, I think. Oh man, there's so many, and like I said, my family quotes so many of these. I think I'm gonna go with. I already mentioned it. I'm gonna go with when Bernard comes in eating the pita, and he's like, he looks at Neil's sweater, and he goes, "Nice sweater. Hey, did we make this?" And he starts looking at the the tag, seeing if it's from the North Pole. I think that's. Yeah, I think it's really funny, but that's what I'm gonna say.
Nice.
Yes. So, final thoughts and star ranking, Wesley.
So I think a positive element about this film is definitely the father-son dynamic, and I kind of talked about this at the beginning, where
it's a relatable movie. It is a very relatable movie. The score of the film is kind of underrated, as we talked about. I really enjoyed the aesthetic of the 90s, as it is clearly represented throughout it. The small little world of Scott Calvin is actually kind of complex and is, makes for a good plot and story of the Santa Claus. So I would give this a solid 3 out of 3.5 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I put on IMDb 6 out of 10, so 3 stars. Yeah, I think it's a really good, like I said, family movie. Small in cast, big in picture. Like it's just it's a good movie. It's very Christmassy, very deep for being a Christmas movie, like you said, like we said. And I think all in all, it's a solid movie that I really don't get sick of watching. Like you get to the point with some of these Christmas movies, like Elf, like I'm trying to think of other ones that I'm just like, I don't care to sit down and actually watch it. I'll put it on because I love it.
Yeah.
But like I know the beats of Elf very well. I know the beats of I don't know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or How the Grinch Stole Christmas or, those ones very well. But this one, I don't get sick of watching it yet. And again, yet. There might come a day where I'm like, you know what, this is, something I don't need to watch every year. But I love it. And I think it's a good one. And 6 out of 10, which would be 3 out of 5. Just a really good movie. It's not anything great, like we said, but So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode on the Santa Claus. Wesley, any recommendations for people to go watch in the theaters or anything?
Right now? Right now. Go see Wicked. Go see Wicked right now. That's a very good musical. You didn't like you didn't.
I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it.
Okay. And you're a theater actor.
Theater guy.
Yeah, you are. So
couple trailers, couple interviews. I'm like,
Okay, the interviews. Yeah, I know the. Yeah, I know.
And it's not that. It's just I don't know, so dramatic, and so I don't know, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Clara,
I'm not a musical guy, and I liked it. So
Clara went and saw, it and she's like, "It's nothing great. Like it's not." She said this. And that's my wife. For those of you guys who don't know. Anyway, go ahead. I'm not saying your recommendation is bad. I'm just saying.
Gladiator 2. I know that's kind of mixed as well. But the quality of the movie and the sound design is great. See that in IMAX probably. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen it in IMAX yet, but I'm going to go a second time. Definitely. I just love the world of Gladiator. Of course it's like historical, of course, but it's not like, it's still fictional. And I just saw the first one this year as well. So, nice. I was kind of in the vibe. For it.
That's fair.
Some underrated ones. I recommended this one recently, Rebel Ridge on Netflix. It's kind of like a thriller about this guy. It's pretty good. And before the year ends, The Last Stop in Yuma County. That's another good one. That's a thriller as well. Kind of a Western. Really good. And I'll give you one more. I'll give you guys one more. I'll probably say, What could I say? Perfect Days. It's kind of like a realistic movie. It's about this janitor in I think, is it Japan? I don't know. He's just a janitor, and it's like about his life, like just like daily life, and it's very like simplistic, but it also is very moving as well. So definitely recommend that one. It came out in 2023, but the release was 2020. The American release was 2024. Okay. So, definitely recommend that. I was very moved by the movie as well. So,
But
Nice.
if you don't know my letterbox, it's Wesman, WESMAN 1730. I logged every single thing on there that I watch, unless movie related, because some shows are not on there. It's more of a
Yeah.
movie a service type of thing. But if you want to follow me there and see what I'm watching, I'll log this tonight. Yeah, I'm watching more Christmas stuff right now since it's in the Christmas season.
It is the Christmas season.
So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. That's awesome. For me, I would recommend you go. Claire and I just watched it last night. The War of the Rohirrim.
I haven't watched that yet.
It's an animated story about something that takes place 250 years before Bilbo finds the ring in Middle Earth. It's a Lord of the Rings film. It was not, and I'm getting to the point now where I've learned that not every movie is going to blow you away, but just enjoy it for what it is. And so,
Yes.
it was a really good movie. It was well written, I thought. It was very much a Lord of the Rings movie. There was a lot of fighting. There's a lot of, you just jump right in. There's not a lot of world building because you know the world of Middle Earth already, or you should. So if you don't, maybe don't go and see it right away, but I'm sure you know it. It was a good watch. I need to put it on my letterbox. My letterbox is Andy Rates Movies. I don't watch as many movies as Wesley, so if you want more content to watch, go follow Wesley. But if you're interested in me too, you can follow me as well. But yeah, that's probably my only recommendation right now. I haven't watched many new things. It's football season, so when I get the chance to watch something, it's usually sports. But
Hot Frosty. Hot Frosty.
Don't watch Hot Frosty.
No, don't watch that.
I can tell you, don't watch it. That was a movie that probably didn't need to be made. But
no.
Thank you guys for listening to this long. It wasn't a long podcast, but one that should have been recorded a long time ago, probably. But we will hopefully get something on the schedule. We really just need to sit down and plan out the year. This is what we're going to be watching this time.
Yes, honestly.
So we can make sure we're not planning anything over that. But we will be back with our MCU rewatch. Hopefully, not before the new year, but
no,
because that's unrealistic. But sometime in January, hopefully. So keep a lookout to your podcast.
And probably finish Phase 3 if we can next year. So, if we can.
For sure.
Yeah.
Phase 3 ends with.
Yeah.
What does it end with?
Well, Far From Home, but
it's Far From. Oh,
yeah,
that's right. That is a long. It is a long one. Yeah, but hopefully next year. Yeah, if we just rip through them. Yeah. But that's exciting But yeah, we'll be back with the MCU rewatch next year. Thank you guys for listening to this. Wesley, any last words for the people?
Well, missed you guys. Hopefully we can return more next year. It's been a busy season for the both of us. So love watching movies and doing this a lot. So I can't wait for more next year. And thank you guys for coming along with us. Whoever's watching on the other side of the, listen to this.
You listen to a podcast, you don't watch it.
Yes, I know. I've said that many times watching for some reason. And we've been doing this for 2 years now, so it's crazy.
We missed the 2. No, we didn't miss the 2 years, right? It was in October.
No, it was in October. That was kind of the state of we said in the podcast, I think.
We did say that. We did. I forgot.
But just thankful for all you guys who are watching, dedicating. We know you're out there.
The
loyal fans. But thanks again for watching us. We're thankful for you, and we're excited to do more in the new year. So,
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you guys listening again. Yeah. You can go if you want to support us, and if you want, some more, thing to spend money on, go check the website at movieminutemenpod.com and get yourself some merchandise. Justice for Leonard merch out there, and we got the regular logo.
Yes.
But Horus merch, which is very niche and very
Live action coming. That
Tangled?
was reported this. Yes. Director, The Greatest Showman. The director of The Greatest Showman is directing it, bro.
The Greatest Showman was not that good. Hot take.
Oh, wow. Right off.
Before we sign off.
Right off. Before we. Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, guys.